Welcome to Dan Talks United. Come on! 2-0. Beat those noisy fucking neighbours. Yes! I know that I said we'd probably lose 3-1, but I don't give a shit about that. Fantastic performance from the lads. Come on! 2-0. Carrick at the wheel. How do you think it feels? Come on! But yes, brought the noisy neighbours to Old Trafford. Beat them 2-0. Fantastic performance from the boys, as I was saying there. Wasn't expecting it, but fucking happy with that result. And we're up into the 4th position. We've been flirting with that for ages, but we finally got it. It's only going to be for a short period of time, I think. But anyway, to beat those twats, that's what it's all about. To beat the rivals, to beat those noisy blue bastards in Manchester. There's only one team really in Manchester. Cheating fuckers. But anyway, it's all about the win today. Early game today, Saturday, but it's just so nice not to have your weekend ruined, because this team can really ruin your weekend. But no, the lads have come through. Lads from AFCON have come back and played fantastically. We'll get into that, but I've just got to shout them out straight away. And Boomer, Ahmad, you've come back. You've given us a lift. Obviously, Carrick's come through the door, and Stevie Holland, and you've given us a lift. They've probably not had a lot of time to get any sort of tactics into this team, but they've obviously decided to set up in a certain way, and we'll come into that as well. But again, it's all about the win. Where are you, SBO? SBO, you was in my live chat last time. I know you said you weren't going to come back if City lost, and you probably weren't going to subscribe to the channel either. But you've got to show up, SBO. Be brave. Come into the live chat, SBO. Where are you? Where are you? So let's have a look at the chat so far. It's obviously from SJ. Eat my fucking hat. Come on, United. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's all about the win today. Fantastic start to the footballing weekend to beat those guys 2-0. Like I say, I mean, during the game, you're thinking that it could happen because there's been plenty of chances that we had during this game. And I think we definitely deserved the win today. And I think the way we set up as well, and the boys put in a shift there. Dallo, I don't know what you were doing at first, but everybody's put in a shift. And like I say, we'll get into the sort of match review. But please, anybody that's... I'm just going to reset my stream there. The chat function, should I say there. But yes, just please put your comments in. What do you think? How it's definitely a good win. How do you think Carrick's done in his first game? How do you think the boys have done in this one? Because obviously it's not been particularly convincing, especially against Brighton. But this one, massive difference, massive difference. But SBO, where are you? You need to be joining this live, because some of the stuff you were saying, but you should still show up. I know you were saying that you didn't want to show up if you lost, but you need to be coming into this stream anyway. Show your face, but I'm sure that you'll be going into your City live streams, I'm sure. So getting into the game then. Obviously, final score 2-0 to the red side of Manchester. So first half, like I say, there was quite a few chances, a lot of offside calls and stuff like that. It felt, I know it probably was only about 2, but it just felt like there was loads of offside calls going on. Again, to bring Maguire into the fold, because I'd said this in the match preview that I'd drop Heaven out and bring Maguire in. This is a massive, or the right game for a player like Maguire, because obviously how good he is in the box, how much of a threat he is in the opposition's box as well. There was not too much of that from Maguire today, actually, in terms of that aggression in their box, but he played really well in our box, which is the most important, because you're a defender. Martinez as well alongside you. I thought that would be a good partnership for today. A lot of people as well saying that Cyborg was going to eat up Martinez because of his height, and I think Martinez did really well against Cyborg today. I don't think Haaland got a sniff really today. Didn't seem to even get a chance, if I'm honest. And there was times where he was really ruffling the feathers of the Cyborg. And Martinez just showed his strength and his composure around him. And I'm quite sure that there would have been a focus anyway to keep him quiet. And I think they did the job really well. Maguire played his role as well. And again, it's just that strength and tenacity and the will to win. And obviously, they won their battles in defence. The attackers won their battles in the end, up in attack. And that's what it's all about. And couldn't have thought of anything better than this to get that win against City when I thought we were probably going to lose. And you just don't know what you're going to get from this team. And obviously, Carrick didn't have much chance or much time, should I say, to put much into this team beforehand. So in 3 days' time, when he's come in, I think it was first training session on Wednesday. And to get enough into this team, enough belief into this team in those few days, you can only hand it to Carrick. And obviously, I'm messing about there saying Carrick at the wheel. It's far too early for stuff like that. But when you've just won the game in that manner, it's all about City, what were you doing? I must admit, though, City weren't the best today. But at the same time, I've got to give credit to the boys to stifle City. Any attacks that they were trying to put forward just wasn't happening for them. And I think a lot of it was down to, obviously, Carrick's tactics and the boys fulfilling those tactics. So just looking at the chat again, Martinez was on his game, and he definitely was. I've got Adil in the chat. Glory, glory, Man United. Come on, what do you think, Adil? Give me some more. Give me some more, Adil. It's the first time I've seen you in the chat there. So, yes, what did you think of the game? We'll come on to stuff like player ratings or man of the match and stuff like that. But give us a bit of information on what you feel about the game today, Adil. I'm sure you're a Man United fan, so you'd be happy. Yes, Adil. I see that in the chat there. So yes, big up Adil there for that chat. Keep going with it. But yeah, so just to continue with the analysis of the game. It's like, just want to bounce off the chat, to be honest, because we can go into the analysis of the game. Don't want to make this boring. It's all about the win. It's all about, yes, the glory of today. I know we're only in fourth, and I know we're not going to win the league, but you've got to get your pleasure from wins like this. You've definitely got to do it. And then who's up next? It's Arsenal. I mean, that feels like ages away now, but Arsenal's up next. We just need to put a really good performance in again against them to get a result. But today is what it's all about. Adil's back here now. First time we've had a convincing performance after a long time. Yes. And I think you could say it's difficult to say if it's a new interim coach bounce or whether it's getting it up for City because they're our local rivals. We know that they're a better team than us, generally speaking, in the last sort of few years, and whether it's a combination of everything, maybe. So it's nice to see a little bit of a bounce. I'm not going to get carried away because this has got to last longer than this. We've got to perform now to the end of the season. So if it's a bounce, good, but let's get some performance in there as well. To be honest, again, I do feel that, again, there was the tactics-wise and how the players have played have contributed to this. So it's not just about a bounce for me. It's not just about that City didn't seem to be playing well today. I think it's a combination of everything, to be honest. And I think it gives me a little bit, a glimmer of hope that we can sort of salvage something this season. But again, it's only the first game. Don't want to get carried away. Definitely don't want to do the Ollie at the wheel type stuff. But you've got to savour this result today and you've got to be happy. And yes, I'm not going to forget that it's Glazers out still. I'm not going to forget that Ineos, you're on your sort of last chance, and I'm not going to give you any credit for this because it's first game for Carrick. Yes, it's the best decision out of the two between Ollie and Carrick for me, so I'm not going to say, you've done wrong there, but our eyes are still on you, Ineos. Our eyes are still on you, Glazers. But for today, we've got to be happy. Sick of seeing you in the crowd, by the way, in terms of the camera always showing these three prats. But, like I say, it's all about the win today. Let's have a look at the chats. Yeah, so Adil says United played well. So, yeah, I think the assignment that Carrick put out to the players, I think they executed it well. Don't get me wrong, I think Dalot tried to sabotage that, and we have to say that Dalot's probably lucky to still being on the pitch. I think it's only because he didn't show much force on Doku's leg, but it was quite a bad tackle, to be fair. It was definitely a deserved yellow and potentially could have been a red, and that could have changed the game. But it didn't. There wasn't a lot of force. It was early in the match. I think probably the ref may have bottled it a little bit, but it did go to VAR as well. But it kept it being a game, and I think that was fair overall. And I think even City fans can admit that we deserve to win today with our game plan. And yes, a lot of it was to sort of sit back at times and hit you on the counter. I did sort of predict that maybe Sesko would have started, but I've got to hand it to Carrick. And that's why Carrick's a coach and I'm not. That he's dropped Sesko today. But I could see the plan there. I could see what he's trying to do. And he obviously wanted players like Dorgu, for example, to fill in and help out in defence, obviously, and help out in midfield where possible, and sort of have that defensive shape and have those numbers, because obviously City can easily overload you when they're in attack because they're so good on the ball, and they start stretching you, your defence and your midfield. So you have to have people that can fill in, and Ahmad did well as well, filling in a defensive aspect as well. He's not the best defender in the world, but just having a body there and jockeying your man and just being there, being a presence, and that's what it's about. And obviously he's got the speed on the counter or the transition, what I prefer to call it. And also, likewise with Dorgu, he's got the speed on the transition as well. So obviously, when you've got Bruno, who's got people running on beyond him, he can see them, he can pass it into them, and he's got the skill to do that. So that's what it's all about. So back into the chat then. Come on, SBO, make an appearance. So just SJ saying here, just listening to Pep's interview, saying that United were the better team. Yeah, I mean, you can never sort of tell if Pep's taking the piss sometimes, because he does that sometimes, and he's a bit of an odd character at times. But fair enough, I'd have to see it and see if there was any genuinity to that. But yes, I don't think he can deny that overall we're the better team. And this is why, because I will slightly go into football, but I don't want to go into it too long. And I always look at sort of possession stats. And I know at half time, I think it was 72% possession to City at half time. That was sort of the overall possession stats for that first half. So it just sort of shows that even though you've got the most possession and you're popping it around, if you don't actually score or you don't make anything of it, it means nothing. And obviously, for us, we've stayed in that game. I think we played well in the first half in terms of containing City and then hitting them on the counter where we could. But again, they had most possession, but they did nothing with it. And that's what counts. At the end of the day, what counts is that scoreline at the end. That's what counts the most. So, yeah, it can look a bit embarrassing at times in terms of possession, and it looks like you can hold on. You're holding on, sorry. And I think sometimes when you look at sort of stats too much, that's where you think, if you didn't watch this game but you looked at the stats, you'd think, oh, City absolutely battered Manchester United today. But that was not the case. And there was even periods, I think it was in the second half, and obviously I'm jumping around here, but it's just being so happy with this win. But where we kind of had that sort of City sort of look, where we were popping it around and doing some rondos around City, and they couldn't get close to the ball. So, okay, it didn't mount to anything. But, like I say, I don't feel that it was a battering just because the possession stats were high for City. I think we played our game well. I think when they attacked us, we were in control. I think in most cases, I don't think... Normally, especially recently anyway, I'll watch Manchester United on 10 to hooks and wondering what's going to go on. And if we score one goal, I think we need to score a second, because if we don't, we're going to lose and going to be out of the game. But I think for probably the first time in a while, when Man City was on the attack, I was quite comfortable to a certain extent. I was quite comfortable thinking that we're going to see it out. We're going to push their players out of the box. We're going to block where we need to. And then knowing that, okay, Le Mans has had his moments at times, but we know that we've got a decent keeper between the sticks. So I wasn't really that bothered when they were attacking, really. I thought that we could do enough, and I thought, again, Martinez and Maguire were really strong. So I don't want to miss any chats here. Yeah, so Adil's saying there, just playing the players where they thrive and letting them shine. And that's another thing that's a key point there, Adil, because I think at times or I say we've, Amarim, for example, has, and I think even Fletcher might have done it as well in one of those two games, but Amarim would play players in the wrong positions. And I think Carrick today has pretty much said, you know what? City are the better side. City do play, they have most of the ball and they can hurt you. And if they're on their game, they can really hurt you. And I just think he's definitely said to himself, you know what? I want good, strong centre backs, which he's got Martinez and Maguire, and timely return from Maguire. So he came back in that last game and got a few minutes. And then he's put, obviously, Dallow's Dallow, but he is a right back. And then Shaw in his normal position as a left back. And when he's on his game, he has a decent game. So then to also have Dorgu, who's been playing well as a winger, strangely, but also has a defensive mentality. So that's a masterstroke there. And then you've got Ahmad, who's been playing wing back for the last sort of year or so. So again, he's been developing his defensive side, but also we know that he's got the speed. So obviously when we sit in, and obviously we've got Casemiro. I mean, we'll come on to Casemiro. We've got Casemiro that's got that Real Madrid experience, that Brazil experience, that World Cup experience, that Champions League Casemiro, who does all the dark arts. And obviously he's covering in midfield. Kobe Mainoo today played well. Obviously we'll come on to who's played well, but he's also put a lot of energy in today and he was conducting things here and there. So I think he got all that right. And then once we get hold of the ball, it's all about attack, 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 which we did. And we hit them on the counter. They couldn't really cope with us. I kept saying during the match that we have to really take advantage of that weak back line because those two central defenders that they had are really young. I think they're like, is it 19 and 20 or something like that? And they're unheard of. You don't really know the names of them. And I think one of them got taken off at half time. So we knew they weren't going to cope. They had Aki, I think, is it right or left back? So yeah, that back line was really inexperienced, and I know they've got a lot of injuries, but it was all about taking advantage of that back line, and I think we really did. And I think we deserved more than 2-0 today. And like I say, overall we played really well. So just to continue with the first half analysis, anyway. And there's another, obviously, an early chance as well. Forgot about that with from a corner. So I think it was swung in from Bruno, and Maguire gets his head on it as normal and hits the bar. Probably should have scored, but gets up really well. I think the start of the game was quite frantic as well. It was kind of sort of end to end at times as well, where there wasn't really much control from either side. I didn't even really feel like there was much shape from either side as well, which is quite strange from a Pep side because I think they were all over the place at first, and I don't really think they actually came into their own until a certain phases of play in the second half. So it was very strange. Did feel though that Rodri, I mean, not the same Rodri as we used to, but did feel that Rodri was quite calm on the ball as he normally is and was conducting things here and there and setting off plays. But other than that, I think Mainoo and Casemiro got around him pretty well. But again, Rodri's Rodri. Again, obviously, we started off in sort of that back four, but we did have Dorgu and Ahmad to fill in and create back five at times and what have you. So overall, a really good defensive display in the first half. Kept it 0-0, obviously. Probably should have been 1 or 2-0 up in the first half, to be honest with you. Then getting into, or just before that actually, there was that part, I think it was around 32 minutes where Ahmad got played through and he has rounded Donnarumma and put it in the back of the net, but unfortunately he was just offside. And then the same happened as well with Bruno. And he got played through. Obviously, he hasn't got the most pace, Bruno, as we know. But again, he rounds the keeper as well, puts Donnarumma down. And he put one of their defenders down on his ass. And then really difficult because I thought he was going to get his shot blocked. Not that this matters because he didn't count, but I thought he was going to get his shot blocked or missed, but he put it in the back of the net. And again, just offside again. I said just offside, probably quite a bit of his shoulder offside. So Unfortunate not to go into that half-time 1-0 or 2-0 up. Just need to watch the offsides. That's one thing, though, that Carrick's going to have to work on with these players is just watching the lines, because there's too many occasions where we're offside. Don't get me wrong, City do play a good high line, and they were all in line together in a sense, so they did do that well. And what we need to do is just hold our run. I think what was happening is that this is a derby. Everybody's excited, the crowd's behind them, and we're all sort of willing them to push on and have a good performance, but also score. And I think the major thing that probably Carrick would have said to the team is to score first, because that's where we've had most of our joy against any team, is that if we score first. And normally, if we score first, we come out with a decent result at the end of it, especially with that sort of record we've got at half-time if we're winning. So I think they were sort of too keen to get forward and score that goal. And I think they were, obviously, you're always trying to get an advantage. But for me, in Ahmad's position, you're quick. So you've got every chance of getting that ball if it's played through. If you just hold your run just a second longer, I think you stay onside and then you can still score. And I think there was just too much desperation to get in behind on City. But again, you've got to take advantage of that inexperienced back line. So moving along then into the second half, and like I say, at half time, looking at the possession stats, I'm thinking, ooh, City's got 72%, but I didn't feel, watching the game, and I don't know what you guys think and put your comments in, it didn't feel like City was dominating the game or that City was all over us per se. Don't get me wrong, they had their moments and they do the normal popping it around the area and looking for an opportunity, because they want to really do that, as I always say, FIFA, FC 26, whatever. They want to just break the team down and almost pass it into the back of the net instead of just going for it, which is fine for us because we eventually intercept the ball, and so many times we've got then Mbumo that's on your bike and Ahmad on your bike, Dorgu on your bike, and a lot of pace in behind. So keep doing it, City, and you kept doing it to our advantage basically. So second half analysis. So I know Pep made a couple of substitutions. I don't think Carrick did he? No, he didn't make any substitutions at half-time. Obviously, he felt that there was a few cards that were dished out as well for both teams, but I think maybe one or two of their defenders were on a yellow card maybe. So he took a lane off, took Foden off, and absolutely can't stand Foden, so I'm glad he didn't have a good game today. I think he just couldn't get into the game. Very similar to Cyborg. He couldn't get into the game. Foden couldn't get into the game. Normally, them two are their sort of danger men normally, so it was good to see Foden leave the pitch at half-time. And Elaine obviously had to come off as well, which made no difference to us because he's just one of the inexperienced defenders. O'Reilly comes on and Cherky. I was worried when Cherky came on because he's been playing well, pretty well recently. But to be fair, I don't think he's really played that well against us because we've faced him up a couple of times in the Europa League for his last team. So to be fair, he hasn't had too much of a record against us. He talked about when he's going to play us next, he's going to murder us and all this sort of stuff. But again, I thought Cherky was quiet, very similar to Foden being quiet. I think the only person that was on the ball quite a bit and could have done something was Doku. But again, Doku was giving me vibes of his earlier days coming into City where it's all sort of style, but no substance, no finish, no end product. So again, he wasn't hurting us. He was sort of jinking here and there, but he wasn't hurting us. He didn't hurt us like he did in the last game, because I think in that last game, did they beat us 3-0? He played pretty well in that last game. So then Casemiro had quite a chance as well because he got played through. Arguable is whether he should have gone down. There was a challenge, but I'm not sure if there was any contact. So he stayed on his feet, tried to chip Donnarumma, but to be fair to Donnarumma, he got a save on it. And he did play well today, Donnarumma. He's been playing well since he's come into City. He was a goalkeeper that I wanted for Manchester United. Obviously, he comes with a heavy price tag and salary and what have you. And obviously, he went to City in the end. But no, a very good save from Donnarumma. And then on the counter, then Bruno plays a nicely weighted pass to Mbumo. Wasn't sure what was going to happen there because I feel that Mbumo's not been on form, to be fair. I'm not sure he had the best AFCON either. So when he got played through, I wasn't sure, but he did actually finish well. It wasn't a shot that Donnarumma could save. He put it nicely placed into the far corner and goes straight across Donnarumma, the diving Donnarumma. So fantastic first goal there from Mbuma. Glad that he scored, and hopefully he can kick on then and start to get his form back really, because it has been quite flat from him in the last few games. And then Mbuma comes off. I wasn't sure about that substitution, I must admit. Though, up to that point, I didn't think Mbuma played that well, but he was still getting in behind. He was still causing City problems. And then when he went off, I was like, I don't know if I'm agree with this substitution that Carrick was making here. But Cunha came on. I think it's because Cunha coming on and he hasn't really been playing that well. I wasn't sure what we're going to expect. Obviously, Mbumo's come back from AFCON. Probably couldn't really do 90 minutes for us, to be honest, because I think he's been playing 90 minutes for Cameroon. And obviously, he's come over and straight into this game. So, to be fair, probably made sense to substitute him. It was just that at the time and after scoring, you're thinking, maybe he could have done another 10 minutes. But anyway, Cunha comes onto the pitch and makes an impact. He played well. He kept hold of the ball well. He was passing off at the right times. He didn't seem to be like driving into dark alleys as he has been doing. Gets the ball played to him down the right-hand side, sort of jinx. I think it was O'Reilly that he sort of skins, and then he gets to the byline and nice low cross into the box. And this time, because this is one thing that I sort of said against Dorgu, is that not anticipating running into the box, because obviously he's not a striker, he's not really a forward player, but anticipates well, does a sort of deep run from the edge of the area, makes a nice connection with the ball, left foot, off the post and in. You love to see it when Donnarumma's flat-footed and can't make the save, and all he can do is look at his defenders to say what's going on here, because might have been one of the midfielders didn't track Dorgu's run, and he was really clever, really alert, really on it, and just a fantastic play and fantastic goal from Dorgu. So that's the sort of thing you like to see. I'm just looking at the chat there. Still no appearance from SBO. Not to worry, SBO. I can see that you're probably crying somewhere. So we'll just have a really quick look at the foot mob, just really quickly. So as you can see there, 2-0. Can see that all day for me. And obviously, and then just to see the possession stats there in the end. So it's slightly changed, and City ended on 68%, and we had 32%. Expected goals, we had 2.03 to their 0.45. So it sort of gives you an idea there. This is the lowest shots we've had, but you'd expect that against City, especially when we had low possession stats there. So we had 11 shots to their 7 and 6 big chances. So look at that. They had 0 big chances. And then quickly, because this will be a nice viewing, let's have a look at the league there. It's just changed as we're watching this live in front of our eyes. We were 4th, but it was very short-lived, and we're 5th there now because Liverpool are now playing, and they're 0-0 at the moment. So that's a massive shame, but it is what it is. At least we're up there anyway. We just need to get a result against Arsenal, and then we'll be all right. So come on, keep putting your chats in as well, your comments in the chats area. So I'm just going to come on to who's played well, really. I normally do underperformers, and I'm not going to do that today because we've won 2-0. Massive sort of surprise to me before the ball was kicked, but during the game, it always felt that we were in with a chance today, and especially when we've gone into that second half. Obviously, we had our moments where we're thinking, oh, yeah, they've got a chance here, and they're driving into our box. But to be honest, as you could see there with the stats, there were no big chances created, and we had all the big chances. So it was one of those games, though, where you're thinking, with the offside calls, are we just going to have that unluckiness today where we just don't get a goal? But we got the 2-0 win, so that's what it's all about. So I'll go on to strong performers first, and then we'll come on to man of the match. So please put in players that you think's performed well today, and also put in who you think is man of the match. So strong performers. So I'm thinking the two boys coming back from AFCON, I think played well. I think Ahmad played well. He was getting in behind them. He was defending well as well. I think Mbeumo, again, I don't think it was his best game in the world, but I think he was causing them problems. And I think they're always on edge when the ball's played through to Mbeumo and he's on the attack, because he will have, I mean, obviously I didn't watch much of Brentford versus City back in the day, but he will have caused City problems over the years, and they will know of Mbeumo. And on his day, fantastic player, fantastic skill, good speed, and he's got a good finish on him as well. So you've always got to be looking out for Mbeumo really in those situations, especially when you're playing in transition, because he is dangerous. So I think, like I say, two boys coming back from AFCON, timely return, good timing for this match as well, and obviously not back in time to play against Brighton, but came back today against the rivals Man City. Casemiro, that guy makes me laugh. Every time I watch this guy, some of the stuff that he does, especially in games like this when it's a bigger game, Casemiro's always up to something. Now, he played well, don't get me wrong. I think his passing was really good. I think his long passing was good. I think he did enough defensively as well. I think he just showed his experience at times. But it's more about, like I said before, it's more about the dark arts of Casemiro. It's getting a slight finger in the eye, but then he's on the floor rolling around and sort of wasting time. And I think it's I always say that plays annoying for the opposition, but you'll love to see it as the fan of especially if you're winning. So I think Casemiro played really well today. Probably got subbed off a little bit earlier than I would have done, but you could tell he'd put a shift in. So it's probably the right idea to sub him off. Martinez, another strong performer for me. I think he did well with Cyborg. I think he kept him quiet. I think considering the height difference as well. I mean, there wasn't a lot of aerial duels, but I think in terms of just that tussling, that strength against each other, I think he came out on top for me, because Haaland was kept quiet. I'm not sure he even had a chance. And he didn't cause too many problems for us, which Haaland can do. So for me, he's a strong performer. So just looking at the comments there, so Casemiro played well today. Yep, I agree. Subbed too early. Yep, just saying the same. I think he got subbed off a little bit too early, but it's worked out in the end. And then Maguire, again, another timely return for another player again. Again, he's had his critics. I've been one of them. I've not been Maguire's biggest fan over the years. There's been times where he's played really well, and I've given the praise, and I think that's what it's all about as well. I'm not going to apologise for saying things about players if they don't play well, because this is Manchester United. Okay, we're not performing at the heights that we have done in the past, should I say. However, this is still Manchester United. We've still got to keep our performances high. And the standards have got to remain high as well. So for me, when he's not played well, I've got to call it out. But today, I think Maguire had a masterful performance today. I think he played really well. I think in terms, again, marshalling that back line, headering the balls out, having those battles, those duels with certain players as well. Again, I think he filled in well, helping out Martinez against the Cyborg, because he's a handful. He's a strike. I know, obviously, these days teams don't play 4-4-2. They play with one striker up front against against two defenders. Sorry, and you've just got to partner up. You've got to partner up, and you've got to marshal your defence, which I think he did. I think it was an excellent combination between him and Martinez today. Not saying it's the best two. I don't know who the best two is. You've got to sort of trial that out, and Carrick's got to find that out. and maybe De Ligt comes back into this backline at some point. But today, with who's fit, I don't think Yoro gets a look. I don't think Heaven gets a look. I think it's got to be Martinez and Maguire. And the same again against Arsenal for me. It's got to be those two. So, yeah, strong performance from Maguire today. Mano, didn't know what we're going to get from Mano, I must admit. But I think what you're going to find from Mano today, though, is that Carrick really likes him. And I think he knows it. And I think if you've got your coach that's got your back, or he backs you, or has got a lot of confidence in you, that's going to increase your performance. And I think today, obviously, you've got to be up for the Manchester derby. You've got to be up for it, and it doesn't take much to rally the troops for a game like this. It's got to be said. However, we have all seen Mano's performances over the last few weeks when he has made an appearance, and it hasn't been great. But today, I think he played well today. I think he was neat and tidy on the ball. I'm not saying he did anything special and outrageous, but I think he was neat and tidy on the ball. I think he passed really well. It'd be interesting to see his stats from today, to be honest with you. I think he was pretty much doing, what Rodri's doing in a sense, in terms of the build-up phase of play, I'd say. Obviously, Rodri's fantastic player, so I'm not going to put him on his level. And obviously, Rodri's more of a 6 anyway than Mano is, but played really well today at the side of Casemiro. I think that blend worked really well because obviously Mano's got the legs, Casemiro's got more of the brain, and I think that combination worked really well today. So Mano's another one of my top performers. So going on to man of the match then. So tough one really. Oh, actually, I didn't mention Bruno. Did I mention Bruno? Don't know if I mentioned Bruno. I think he played well today as well. And obviously his nice way to pass to Mbeumo for the first goal. Unfortunate that he was offside for his own goal, but I think he played well today. Just orchestrating things as well. Doing the normal things that you'd expect from Bruno. Nice passing. Nice conducting of the game in that sense. Obviously going to be always lacking in defence, but again, put a shift in. I think the team defended well again today. I think they defended well as a team today. Don't get me wrong, there's individual performances, don't get me wrong, but I said as a team, I think we did well as well. So, moving on to man of the match then. So, it isn't Bruno, but he could have been up there, or was up there. There's quite a few of them, to be honest, that could have made the man of the match, but please put your man of the match in the chat, and I might wait a second or two to see if there's any names that pop up before I give mine. But I would definitely say there's a few players there that could have made the shortlist for this man of the match performance, because again, there wasn't really particularly a bad performance. Don't get me wrong, Dalot frustrated me as he always does. I think it was in the first half when he was played through, and all he had to do was just do a 2-yard pass to Ahmad. Ahmad would have been away, could have got a cross in, but no, he just overcooks his pass, and he does this a lot. He goes brain dead in the final third, Dalot, and I just don't understand it. It's like he looks silky, and he looks like he's got a lot of tech. And then you get him in that final third, and then his brain just goes to mush. And it's like he doesn't know what he's doing next. And he just either falls over his feet or just does a stupid pass, or he tries to sort of cut inside and shoot and just sky it. It frustrates the hell out of me. Because even when he did something good in the second half, I think it was, he'd sort of intercepted the ball, but then did some wayward pass along the line and gave City a chance. I just don't understand it. But like I say, come on, people that are in here, put your man of the matches in there. Who do you think played well today? Let me just refresh that stream there. Who played well? Come on, tell us. Are you still in here, Dill? No SBO today, unfortunately. Crying away with his City buddies. I'm sure he'll turn up one day. He'll probably wait for us to lose, won't he? And he'll turn up then, which you'd expect from rival fans, to be fair. But yeah, so going to move on to man of the match then. So for me, it is Dorgu. And I'm quite happy to give it Dorgu. I think he especially when he's played in the forward positions. And obviously, this has started more recently when he sort of played. I think it was Amarim that started it, in fact, where they've played him either right wing or left wing. And yeah, when he's played in the forward positions, I've got to hand it to him. He's played really well. He's tacked really well. He's been a nuisance. He's shown his speed, his tenacity, and his crossing ability as well. I don't think there was loads of crosses from him today, which you would expect because there's no Sesko. But yeah, again, on that attacking front, I think he did both. And I think he's got a massive engine on him because he was still playing like a wing-back role. So I suppose it was kind of what I expected from Carrick in a sense, where he's going to invert Bruno, I suppose, anyway, but sort of invert his traditional wingers to a certain extent and let the fullbacks go on the outside. So and Mbeumo would come in inside, and then Ahmad would go around the outside, and same on the other side as well, where you've got Dorgo going on the outside and trying to penetrate their defence from wide. So yeah, got it in the chat there that SJ agrees. Dorgo played well today. So yeah, and I think obviously he gets his goal as well. And normally, as I've said before, and I said it earlier in the show, that he wouldn't always anticipate that run, that darting run into the centre where the ball comes across from Cunha. So I've got to hand it to him to do that. I was quite impressed by that with Dorgu today. Didn't expect that from him. It was a good, neat finish on his stronger foot, obviously, but it was a good, neat finish. It's one of those finishes where you've got a world-class keeper there in Donnarumma that's flat-footed and stuck there and couldn't make a save. And I think it was a fantastic, fantastic finish from Dorgu and fantastic play from Cunha down the outside. So for me today, Dorgu gets the man of the match. So, as I was saying, gonna sort of wrap things up there unless there's any more sort of chats coming in. But no, Dorgu gets man of the match. I think the majority of the teams played well today. I don't think Le Mans had much to do. Had a decent save at one point where Dalot actually kicked him afterwards, but didn't really have much to do. Yeah, it had a bit of a blip where he should have known where he was in the box and the ball was going wide and he sort of tips it wide for a corner. But other than that, I think, again, not much I can say about Le Mans because I don't think he had much to do today. But in general, the team played well. Nice to get that 2-0 win against the noisy neighbours. Good performance, a good start for Carrick. Let's not be talking about Carrick getting the job full time. I think whatever happens from now to the end of the season, we still need to be getting a elite coach, a top level coach. And like I said, this has got to work now for Ineos because to sack a interim would be unthinkable. So really good start. Hopefully can set the team up disciplined again against Arsenal at the Emirates. It's going to be a tougher task against Arsenal. Obviously, they're a much better team than City this season, so far anyway. They're at top of the league. They've been winning a lot of games this season as well. They're going to be a tough opposition. So we just need to set up in a disciplined fashion. To be honest, I'd probably expect him to set up in a similar fashion today, really, where he's going to want to really have more bodies in the midfield area. And then that ability to probably turn that back four into a back five at times and what have you. So, yes, really good win today. United. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. Please hit that subscribe button if you've not subscribed already. Please like, please share, and I will see you